Coming up on this episode of One-on-One Sports,
we touch on the MLB free agents,
discuss the NBA and NHL trade deadlines,
and dive into the craziness surrounding March Madness.
All that, so much more.
And it all starts
right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of One-on-One Sports. I'm Andrew Vendelis.
And I'm Matt Holzapfel. A lot happened this past weekend in the world of sports, but before we get started, let's step up to the plate for the quick hitters. Minnesota Lynx star Maya Moore has announced that she is not participating in the 2019 season of the WNBA. Moore has attributed this to wanting to focus on her family and, quote, ministry dreams. And do you think this is a good move for her at this point in her career?
Yeah, she said it in the most noble way possible. She said, the main way I measure success is in something I don't often get to emphasize. And she measures it by asking, am I living out my purpose? That's what she said in the Players Tribune when she made this decision. She's won 4 titles with the WNBA, with the Lynx. She has nothing to prove to anybody. And to me, mental health or, personal life should always come first.
That's a really powerful quote. I like the one you use. And you said 4 championships. That's only in 8 seasons. 50% of her seasons in the WNBA, she's won it all. She's got MVP, Finals MVP, All-Star, multiple records in both college and professional basketball. I mean, look at this. This is her list of accomplishments just on one sheet. And this is 100 right there. It's ridiculous. She's so accomplished. She can absolutely step away if she wants.
Is this going to be a blow for Minnesota? Yes, but at the same time, I'm sure they recognize how important it is for Moore as well. And, she left it with no questions asked.
The Brett said she's only 29. She has time to take a year off. And they're going to welcome her back when she comes back.
She could definitely come back. Kevin Durant of the Golden State Warriors vented some of his frustration towards members of the media in regards to other players and coaches in the NBA. He stated that mistrust lied at the root of the problem, where anything he said was twisted around. Matt, do you agree with Durant? Should the media be more conscious of players just being players?
No, this really irks me because the way he went about this was all wrong, and it started with this. So someone asked him about upcoming free agency, and he goes, why do you care? Why do I care? That's my job. My job is to care, to ask you and to write. And this is KD's fault. So I say this to Kevin Durant. If you don't want this to happen, sign a real NBA deal, a long-term deal.
Please.
His last 2 contracts have both been 2-year deals with a player option on year 2. So what is he? It gives him the option to get out whenever he wants. Of course, that's the story.
So here's the thing. The media has no obligation to stay in a line or realize that players are being just players. He added a follow-up quote that I like. He said, I want to give fans my perspective about the game, not business, which is a lot more polite than saying, what do you want to know about it? But at the same time, I get that he doesn't want to get personal, but the media's responsibility is not to, just let things stay by the wayside. It's to figure things out and report things accurately. And if Kevin Durant has a problem with that, that's on him, because that is not the media's job to stay in line.
He said, I just want to play basketball, and I saw this on daytime sports TV show, and I agree with it 100%. If you just want to play basketball, go find a blacktop, go find some random gym, because this is the NBA where you are on a stage, always being scrutinized, and clearly he is not mature enough for it.
He's got to deal with the scrutiny, and whether it's the burner accounts or this climate nowadays where, things are not being put into perspective and people are just having suspicions about the media and distrust, you got to grow a pair. I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. You got to be mature, you got to be transparent, and you can't shut the media out because it's not professional.
I agree with everything you just said. The 2018 Heisman Trophy winner, Kyler Murray, has officially announced his commitment to being an NFL quarterback. Last June, Kyler was drafted by the Oakland Athletics to play baseball in the MLB. However, he announced Monday afternoon that he had decided to enter the NFL draft, foregoing his future in the Major League Baseball. And is this a good move or a bad move for Kyler Murray?
Absolutely the right move. In my opinion, he's a top 10, if not a top 5 pick in the draft this year. There's a huge need for him. I mean, you have Arizona at number 1, your New York Giants at number 6, Jacksonville maybe number 7, Denver number 10 if Case Keenum doesn't pan out. I think his stock rises because of the quarterback demand in that top 10 alone, even if it's planning to be more of a defensive draft. And look at teams like Washington, Miami, teams looking to replace quarterbacks or fill a need.
Absolutely. There's so many teams that could take him.
There's so many
I'll get
opportunities
to that in a second.
for
I'll
him.
address what you just said. I completely agree. Back in November, before we were sure where he was going to go, a couple of GMs were like, maybe first round, maybe not. Now that he's declared, multiple NFL general managers are saying he's the top 10 pick. Just like that, because they all of a sudden know what he's going to do. They know he's committed to football, and now they're ready to take a chance on him.
Here's the thing. I know that Dwayne Haskins might have declared earlier or whatever. He might have been more of a, expected pick. But now that Kyler Murray's actually declared, it shoots him far above Haskins for me.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to get picked before him, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I think he's one or two. I could take either one. But when you look at his game, what's the weakness? Height?
Nothing.
He's the same height as guys like Doug Flutie, Russell Wilson, 1 inch shorter than Drew Brees, Fran Tarkenton. There have been plenty of guys in this league at this height who have been great. So don't tell me that his height is a problem.
Exactly. I know some people think Heisman winners have a curse, but this guy has the talent. He has the it factor as well. He can lead a team, and you're following in the footsteps of Baker Mayfield as well, and you win a Heisman again, you take your team that far. There's no reason for me to believe otherwise that he can't lead an NFL team.
Yeah, and lastly, to your point about teams taking him, if the Cardinals don't take him at 1, which it looks like they might not at this point.
It's going to be a mistake if they don't.
The Giants at 6, Broncos at 10, Dolphins at 13. Yep. All teams that I could potentially see taking Kyler Murray.
Definitely. He's going to be a hot commodity in the draft.
For sure.
Troubled star and former Kansas City Chief running back Kareem Hunt is a free agent no more. Hunt inked a 1-year deal with the Cleveland Browns just a few months after video footage surfaced of Hunt abusing a woman in a hotel. Matt, how does this signing look for the Browns, both image-wise and football-wise?
Not good. And look, I get the argument they're trying to make. Sure, Kareem Hunt is on the exempt list. He will not play or practice until this is, quote unquote, dealt with. Investigated. Yeah. But here's the thing. You still cannot overlook what he's done. And the fact is that this could be a 6+ game. Some people are saying 10-game suspension. Factor in the games that now he will miss while on their roster, while still on the exempt list. They will count that towards his suspension. So those are games he should be missing that he's not, because he's on an exempt list because the Browns signed him. I get that John Dorsey drafted him in KC. I get that. This is a bad move.
Why, dear God Almighty, why? This is a huge step back for the NFL morally. I get it. You have the business side of things, and then you have the moral side of things. Business-wise, I get it. Add a huge name to the Browns running back. But do they need him? You have Nick Chubb. You have Duke Johnson Jr. You have all these running backs, 2 solid backs who, are formidable.
Out of the state.
Baker may need a load taken off of his back because on the offense, but not like this. The Browns should be ashamed of themselves morally for doing this.
The NFL learned something from Ray Rice and Greg Hardy, but it's not what we thought. They learned that touchdowns solve everything and that people don't care.
Every time we think they take a step forward, they take 2 steps back.
That is all the time we have for the quick hitters.
When we come back, we'll talk some of the biggest trades in the NBA.
All day we've been talking about deadline after deadline. So Andrew, I ask you, what is the craziest trade deadline moment we've ever seen in sports?
I'm going with the NBA and DeMarcus Cousins being traded to the Pelicans on the night of the 2017 All-Star Game, almost a year ago today by the time this airs. He found out right after the game in a press conference where his soon-to-be teammate...
So he was in the game?
Yep.
Oh my God,
Anthony Davis
brutal.
dropped 52 that night, his future teammate, All-Star MVP. New Orleans, at the time of the trade, was 2 games behind the 8-seeded playoffs. They didn't make it. 2 years later, Boogie would be Golden State bound, just like the great ones always do.
Like a flash in a pan, gone like that. I went NBA as well, so this was back in 2011. Carmelo Anthony gets traded to the Knicks in a massive, massive deal.
How'd that work out?
13 players. Melo was 26, 7.5 seasons in. And, this is such a big deal, not because of when it happened. Of course, trade deadline deals are always exciting, because of the magnitude of the trade. You have one of the best players in the league in the prime of his career getting sent to the Big Apple to play for the Knicks when he just spent his whole career with one team. The Knicks sent Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, Raymond Felton, Mozgov, 3 picks, and the rights to multiple other players, and cash to Minnesota and Denver.
They basically gave everything and the key to the facility.
And they got Melo, and that is it. And the Knicks made the playoffs the first 3 seasons with Melo, have not made it since.
And Melo, another flash in the pan. Sad.
Well, that is all the time we have for this episode of One-on-One Sports.
Huge thank you goes out to all of our producers, crew, talent, and you, the viewer, for tuning in.
If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all at One-on-One Sports.
Well, that's all of us here from in the studio. Till next time, whose side are you on?